Welcome to today's deep dive, where we'll unpack a topic that has a lot of business leaders feeling like they're caught in a whirlwind.
Yeah, trying to keep up with the ever-changing world of regulation.
Exactly, especially with AI rapidly changing everything.
It's a challenge, no doubt. The regulatory landscape is definitely shifting, and businesses are scrambling to adapt.
It seems like new regulations are popping up everywhere, from environmental commitments, like ESG stuff, to how companies use AI.
It's across the board.
Yeah.
And the consequences of not keeping up, well, they can be pretty serious.
Okay, so let's talk about those consequences. What are we talking about here? What are the risks for businesses that fall behind?
We're talking big fines, lawsuits, damage to your reputation, all of which directly impact your bottom line.
Ouch. That's a heavy hitter for sure. And I imagine those risks are even higher with something as new and rapidly developing as AI.
Absolutely. And it's not just a hypothetical threat either.
Right. There are real-world examples of this playing out already.
Absolutely. Take the EU's new AI Act, for example.
I've heard that one is a big deal.
It is. It gives regulators the power to impose fines of up to 7% of a company's annual turnover, or a staggering 35 million euros for serious violations.
7% of annual turnover, that's huge. It definitely highlights the importance of staying ahead of these regulatory changes. So we're talking about AI being on the bleeding edge. Of course, it makes sense that regulations are trying to catch up. But the article we're diving into today, which comes from Inc. 42, focuses on AI not just as the thing being regulated, but also as a potential solution.
It's a fascinating angle. AI isn't just changing the game, it's changing how we play it.
And one of the most interesting applications, at least from this article, is in the world of contracts.
Definitely. Contracts are essential, but they can be a real headache to manage.
I think anyone who's ever had to deal with a contract can relate to that, especially with all the legal jargon involved.
Exactly. But that's where AI can step in and really make a difference. Imagine you're a company operating in multiple countries, each with its own set of regulation.
Right, it gets complicated quickly.
And you've got this mountain of contracts to keep track of. Supplier agreements, customer contracts, the list goes on. Now imagine AI sifting through all of that, pinpointing potential risks, and ensuring you're compliant in real time.
That sounds incredibly valuable, like having a 247 compliance officer on hand.
That's a great way to put it.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just the tip of the iceberg. AI-powered contract analysis goes way beyond just flagging problems. It helps you mitigate those risks before they even become real issues.
So it's not just about playing defense, it's about using AI to get ahead of the game. I like it. Now that we're starting to see how AI can be this powerful tool in the world of contracts and regulations, let's move on to how this directly impacts your financial health as a business owner. So we've established that AI can really be a game changer, like a super-powered assistant when it comes to contracts and regulations. But the Inc. 42 article we're diving into today goes deeper. It highlights how this translates to real financial advantages.
Absolutely. It's not just about avoiding those big fines. It's about shifting your whole approach.
Okay, so from reactive to proactive.
Exactly. Instead of scrambling to fix problems after they happen, AI helps you anticipate those risks before they even hit your balance sheet.
Makes sense. But can you give me an example? How does this actually play out in the real world?
Sure. Let's say you have a long-term contract, right, with a supplier, and then a new environmental regulation comes into effect.
Okay, this is something that happens all the time these days.
Right. So this new regulation requires the use of, let's say, recycled materials in your products.
And how does AI come into play in that situation?
Without AI, you might not even catch that clause in your contract until it's too late. And then what happens? You're facing penalties, delays, all sorts of problems.
So AI helps you catch those things early on.
Exactly. AI can instantly flag that contract, highlighting the need to renegotiate, and it can even suggest language to bring it into compliance.
Wow, so you're ahead of the game, ensuring your operations run smoothly and avoiding a potential financial hit. I see. The article also mentioned something called generative AI. What exactly is that, and how does it fit into all of this?
That's a great question. It's pretty amazing, actually. Generative AI can create content, new content, based on the data it's trained on.
So we're talking about AI that can write.
In a way, yes. In the context of contracts, it can help draft compliant clauses or even entire agreements.
Wow, really? Entire agreements?
Yeah, it really speeds up the process and reduces the reliance on, outside legal counsel.
That sounds like a huge cost saver, especially for smaller businesses. So it's not only analyzing and flagging issues, but can help create airtight contracts from scratch.
Exactly. And it levels the playing field. Now, smaller companies have access to sophisticated tools that were previously out of reach.
It's like AI is shifting the whole perception of compliance. Instead of being a burden or a cost, it's a competitive advantage.
Exactly. It's not just about staying out of trouble, it's about using compliance to get ahead.
And this is where it gets interesting to me. So how does AI help uncover those hidden opportunities within contracts that, might have been missed otherwise? So we've talked about AI flagging risks, even helping draft new contracts. But it sounds like we're just scratching the surface here. How does AI uncover those hidden opportunities, the ones buried in all those contracts?
Well, think of it this way. Contracts, they're full of data. Payment terms, delivery schedules, you name it. All of that is valuable when you can really analyze it.
Right. It's like gold hidden in plain sight.
And AI can find it. It can identify those patterns, insights that we as humans, we might just overlook. And those insights, those can lead to cost savings, revenue opportunities, the whole 9 yards.
So it's like having a team of analysts working around the clock, but instead it's all about algorithms.
Exactly. It's like having a team of super analysts who never sleep.
I like the sound of that. Okay, so give me a real-world example of this. How does AI find those hidden gems in contracts?
Let's say AI analyzes a company's sales contracts, and it notices something interesting. A pattern of, let's say, late payments from certain customers.
Okay, so it's identifying a trend.
Right. Now, armed with that information, what can the company do? They can adjust payment terms, maybe incentivize early payments, and improve their cash flow.
That's incredible. It's like AI is taking something that used to be a reactive headache and turning it into a proactive strategy.
Precisely. It's about leveraging this technology to gain a real edge in today's business world.
Well, we've covered a lot of ground in this deep dive, from the very real challenges of regulatory compliance to this really exciting potential of AI. As we wrap up, what's the key takeaway for our listeners?
AI isn't just, some futuristic concept. It's here. It's changing the game. And businesses that embrace it, especially when it comes to contracts, they're the ones that are going to thrive.
It's about making smarter decisions, mitigating risks, and finding those hidden opportunities.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And it all starts with understanding the AI in contracting. It's not just about efficiency. It's about gaining a real competitive edge in an increasingly complex business landscape.
That's a great point to end on. As you navigate the ever-changing world of business, remember that AI isn't just the future of contracting, it's the key to unlocking a more efficient, compliant, and ultimately profitable future for your business.